Hey, deserving listeners, it's time to continue watching Angela and Michael on 90 Day Fiancé before the 90 days. Let's get to the show.
I'm gonna do this. I asked Michael if he's been here, because when I seen the boat dock, it reminded me of a picture Michael put on his social media. At the same boat dock with women, so therefore he's lying dead in my damn face. You're lying.
Lie about what?
I'm ready to go home. This boat ride.
So she has legitimate reasons to be worried about lies because he has admitted to her face that he has lied on a number of occasions. However, is this a helpful way of communicating about your worries and the hurt that you've been through about those lies? I don't know. She could be saying something like, you know what? I actually want to model how to communicate this because it's a very frequent feeling that people will go through. So just to recap, she just landed in Nigeria. They're having all these lovey-dovey moments, fun times. They're finally able to see each other in person after a long time. And they're in the car and they're driving out. And incidentally, there was an altercation with someone who was trying to tow their car. I didn't include that bit, where the two of them got in a physical fight with some people who were trying to tow their car for some reason. I'm not quite sure. Anyway, so now her pain around being cheated on and lied to in the past are being triggered in this moment. It happens. It can happen randomly. It can happen in somewhat understandable ways, but it happens. When you are lied to, when you're deceived by your partner, when you've had a trust incursion, a trust violation, when you've been cheated on, as she has, those feelings are going to come up. They're going to come up in random times. And so right now she's clearly having one of those feelings. They're about to go onto a boat and she's in a bad mood. And well, to recap a little bit, she was commenting about how he did something that was annoying her on some level. And he said, I'm sorry. And then she said, you know, you always apologize, but do you really mean it? So this is what I was worried about, because the way he apologizes, it's not clear if he really means it, because he just says he's sorry. He's apologizing more in an instrumental way of like trying to get her to calm down, trying to get her to take him back. That's why he's apologizing. Apologizing is not that. Apologizing is legitimately thinking to yourself, wow, I am sorry. I did something wrong, even if it's a small thing. And to say, yeah, I did, that was my fault. That person didn't deserve that. There were reasons why I did it, but it didn't justify it. And I'm sorry. I don't know if his apologies involve that. I think his apologies seem, on the surface anyway, to be more of a, hey, take me back, rather than a full investigation of, okay, why did I cheat? Why did I lie? Why do I lie so often? Why did I lie about that way? And then let's try to work on that. Now, we could look at him and say he has legitimate reasons to have the impulse to lie because she gets angry and hostile so quickly. That's not a justification for lying, but it is a factor probably. But there's another way that she could be talking about this right now. She's having that, they're about to go on a boat, and she's having a memory of seeing a picture on Instagram or social media of him on a boat with other people. And we saw a picture of that. And it's reminding her of all the other reasons that she has been hurt, all the other reasons that she's been worried about being scammed by him, or that he doesn't really love her, about the pain. So, you know, it's happening for her, and that's okay. How do we communicate about that? Well, the way I work with my couples is to take a sec and to think about, okay, what's happening for me? What are my primary feelings? I'm feeling hurt. I'm being reminded of the pain I've had in the past. I'm feeling the pain right now. I'm having worries that he's going to cheat on me in the future, or that he's lied to me, or that he cheated on me recently and I don't know. I'm having these worries. These are coming up, and that's okay. Those feelings are okay. A lot of people have those feelings, especially under the circumstances that she's under, where he has lied and cheated on her. But how do we communicate about that? Well, then you just say it that way. You say, honey, I just want to tell you, I'm getting in a bad mood because the past lies that you've committed to me and the infidelity it's coming up for me. That those feelings are coming up for me, and I'm just going to need a second to deal with this. And you could really help me out by apologizing again sincerely. I don't know if he ever has sincerely apologized to her. Or reassure me that you're not going to do this again. Or do you understand what I'm going through? Can you really empathize with what I'm going through right now? And that it's normal. Now, what a lot of people in Michael's shoes will do is like, you're dwelling in the past. He talked about grudges, but it's actually a misunderstanding that a lot of people in his shoes have, that I've already apologized for this. What's the big deal? It is almost universal that when you are cheated on, when you're lied to, that you are going to have a cyclical feeling wave that will come over you for the rest of your relationship with that person. And it is up to you as the person having that feeling wave to not shame yourself for it, know it, and to communicate it at that primary level of the fear and the pain. And it's definitely the responsibility of the cheating partner to listen, to care, to empathize, and not to shame the other person. It was so long ago. What's wrong with you? And because that's wishful thinking. It's wishful thinking that when you do something wrong to someone, it's wishful thinking that when you break someone's trust, that all it takes is an apology and a promise to never have it happen again. It doesn't work that way.
I'm not going on it. You. I don't even want to ride with you.
What do you mean that?
You lied again in my
That
face.
Now, she's not helping herself in the situation because she's transforming that fear and that pain, total speculation, into hostility about something that seems really kind of strange from at least the looks of it, and we don't know. We'd have to talk with Angela to get the full picture. She saw a picture on Instagram where he was on some sort of boat, and in the background, in between two men, was a woman. And because of that, that is why she's upset. I don't know if that's the picture she's referring to. And as they're pulling up to go on this boat, which I think is something that he had been planning on doing for her, she randomly asked, hey, have you ever been on a boat before? I think because she's actually looking to catch him on a lie. And he's like, no, I haven't been except for this one time with my uncle. And she's like, you're lying to me again. And so she is getting up in arms about something that might not actually be a moment of infidelity or even lying for him. It might just be a slip of the mind or whatever. And for him right now, if he's just looking at this event, he might be thinking, why in the world is she so upset about this random thing? This doesn't make any sense. So her feelings are justified, but the way she's coming across is actually shooting herself in the foot because this is going to give him another reason to think that she's strange and unusual and not worthy of validation.
On your social media, the picture. Who are them girls, Michael? You know what? Get your own hotel room. I got my own money. I'm done with this.
So we've seen other couples on this show where one of the individuals is jealous and has similar behaviors as Angela. Some of the couples have reasons for those feelings. Angela has reasons for those feelings because he has cheated on her. He's admitted to that. He has lied to her on numerous occasions, and he's admitted to that as well. For big things, he's lied to her about cheating and the details of it, and for little things like what he did on a given night. So she has reasons to have those feelings. Now, she doesn't have reasons to be hostile. She has reasons to have the primary feelings of the fear and the hurt. Some couples on the show, however, exhibit this behavior that Angela is exhibiting without any justifiable reason. I'm not going to name names, but there are some couples who you'll see one of the individuals, they will be very triggered around their jealousy when the other individual has done nothing to cause the person to be so worried, other than maybe some mild conflict or some distance or something. And I just want to point out that contrast. Now, I would never shame either one of those individuals, but it does give us context into what we're supposed to do when we're in a situation like this. For the Angelas of the world, they have reasons, so there has to be a lot of conversations that the Michaels of the world have to participate in. They have to do a lot to recover, to help, to apologize, to really investigate themselves and talk about why it is that they did that what they did, not as an excuse, but as an explanation, and as a way of exploring their own personality such that they won't do it in the future. The other people on this show who exhibit this kind of jealousy without any justification, it is not the fault of the other individual that the person is jealous. The innocent person is just going through their life, and this person is just randomly jealous. And so I just want to differentiate between those two styles.
You're a damn liar. I'm ready to go. I'm done.
So this is really unfortunate. Again, I think she has legitimate reasons to have those feelings. And again, I think after seeing her in the tell-all from last season, I think that she has some humiliation trauma. I think that the cameras actually might even be triggering her on some level. I don't know, just a guess. But it's unfortunate that she's on this cycle where very, very lovey with him, very sure, this is the man I love, we're going to get married, everything's a go. And then a little bit of triggering, and then through the roof, I'm done, I'm going to throw the ring, this is over, and back and forth, back and forth. And what he does is he accommodates both modes, where when she's really lovey, he's really lovey. When she's really angry, he apologizes, and it's just a circle that goes round and round and round.
That I took a picture with women. I never knew she had seen it, so I lied to her. That's why I always don't say more things, because whenever I say something, she take it to the extreme.
Right. Once again, he's saying, yeah, I lied to her, but it's only because she takes it to the extreme. Well, dude, if you don't lie to her, she's not going to take it to the extreme, I don't think, at least to that extreme. If maybe she gets a little upset, that's a lot better than her getting super upset and breaking up with you all the time. So he's causing this problem. Just lies after lies after lies. For what reason? Is he shady? I don't know. He doesn't seem like he's shady. He obviously could be, because he admits to lying all the time. And usually the lies you admit to are just the tip of the iceberg, not always. But anyway, now I'm starting to think he has some kind of self-sabotage issue. There is a masochistic issue that a lot of people will have due to abuse that they go through. Essentially, you go through abuse and you learn, I don't deserve good things and I deserve to be punished. And without someone around to punish me, I'm just going to punish myself, or I'm going to do things to provoke other people to punish me. Actually, as I say that out loud, that's a pretty good hypothesis for him. Of course, I have no idea. I'd have to ask him. We have no idea what his history is like. But something weird is going on, because the unrelenting pattern of him lying and then not inspecting that and saying, okay, you know what? I really need to not. He clearly wants to marry her. He clearly wants to go to the United States. Why would he lie about things that were just so inconsequential? He went on he went out for a birthday party with his friends and lied about that. What's wrong with going out with your friends unless you're hiding something? But I don't even think he's hiding anything. There's something weird is going on there. Now, it doesn't justify Angela's behavior. She does take it to an extreme. You could even call it on the abusive spectrum, verbal and emotional abusive spectrum, at least verbal abuse. So it's not justified. There are other ways that she could be communicating it, but he's certainly not doing himself any favors by continuing to lie and not investigate why so he can change it.
I love him. I love him from a distance. I just don't want to be with him. He's just sickening.
And as usual, she eventually starts to identify and feel the pain, which she is right now. She's crying. If she were able to exhibit that in the moment instead of the very high level of hostility, things might actually go better for them. I don't know, but I imagine that he would react better. Imagine from the very beginning, if every time he lied to her, she cried and said, honey, it just really disappoints me. It really hurts me. It makes me feel really sad, and the tears, and you really hurt my feelings. I wonder if that would have avoided this cycle that they're on, which is that as she escalates, he shuts down, and as he shuts down, she escalates. And part of his shutting down process, I think, involves him lying. In the moment, he's scared. So another hypothesis that I've thrown out there with other chronic liars that we've seen on the show is that when you're a kid, you often will do impulsive things, or you'll do things that will be against what your parents want you to do, and you're roughhousing. And the parents come around the corner and they're like, I told you guys to da-da-da. And it's normal for kids to have an impulse to lie in that moment. Like, everything we didn't do it, And most parents understand that. They're like, well, kids lie, and I'm going to do what I can to eliminate that behavior because I don't want them to continue lying. But, kids, they get scared. They're immature. They don't know what they're doing. They're not adults yet. And so they're going to have that impulse. Well, another thing that can happen when you're young is that if you have an abusive parent and you're a kid and your parent comes around the corner and they're like, were you doing that? You're so terrified of being beaten or some other kind of mistreatment that you'll say anything to get out of trouble. And so you have a very knee-jerk reaction of lying. And then you retain it, which really was helpful when you were a kid because it actually got you out of abuse. But then when you're an adult, you retain that knee-jerk reaction even under circumstances where it isn't actually necessary to do that. And it's essentially a habit that people get into. So that's another hypothesis I would have for him. He could have both and many more, or none of the above. I'd have to ask him. But anyway, I wonder if she were able to remain sad and not hostile, and that would give him this opportunity to really think, my behavior is really hurting her. But what's happening is she escalates so fast that I think he feels completely justified in the lying because he looks at her behavior and he feels very hurt. He feels like she is being unfair. And he's like, well, yeah, of course I lied to her because look at her, she's crazy. Which is not a good dynamic to get in. Now, he is responsible for the lying. Unless he was being actually abused, which maybe he is. We're just watching an edited show. If he was legitimately being abused and controlled by her, and there's some very tiny indications of that, verbal abuse to him, then under those circumstances, it is somewhat justified to lie because you're trying to avoid being massively abused. So, there's a spectrum there, but it doesn't look that way to me. It looks like something that he retained from before he ever met her that is shooting himself in the foot.
I bought you Coke.
I don't want your Coke.
See, the situation I don't know why you are.
Keep away from me. Michael,
Angie,
I'm going to hit you right in your
listen.
mouth.
You don't have to do.
Yikes. So she's threatening to hit him. There's other ways to deal with this if she doesn't want to have him around. So there's a lot of problems with this. One is he walks up and says, I bought you a Coke. And then she grabs the Coke and throws it away. And she says, get out of my face. And he doesn't leave. He stays in contact, so that could be seen as aggressive. She gets aggressive back and says, I'm going to punch you in the face. They're escalating. And on camera, we've seen them come to blows, kind of, and I wonder if behind the scenes they've been even worse. I don't know. So that very much concerns me for the two of them. So I don't know what is going to happen here. I'm really worried. I don't know if Angela. I wonder if we could, really get Angela to be honest in this moment, and ask her. So is it truly over? Be honest, because you've said this many other times. You have said many other times it's over. You've thrown the ring, and then it's not over. So we can't blame Michael for not respecting your statement around that because you say that often when you're upset. So are you just saying that because you're hurt? Are you saying that because it's true? Are you saying that because it feels true? Are you saying that because you feel like you need to say that in order to get people to listen? What's going on here? Because they're in a weird dynamic where things are real lovey, and then she'll get triggered by something random, or he will actually lie to her. She will go through the roof. He tries to do everything he can. Apology. No, you're done. Maybe some violence. And then things go back to normal. And then we're right back on the cycle. It just goes round and round and round. So we often see that on this show is the repetitive cycle of conflict that a therapist could really help them with.
Bitch, get your get out of my room because we are done.
It's not about
Goodbye. I'm done.
Let's talk about it.
Go upstairs and get your my room. My room.
And then this other question starts to emerge regarding what her attitude is and what her past partners would state about her. Does she do this to everyone? Is this her way of trying to control him? Because if we just took her behavior at face value, it's on the controlling, abusive spectrum. Now, if it's truly over in this moment and she's done, then she's upset and that's okay. But if she's doing this as a tactic to try to wrangle control, because she has other statements around this, it's like, I don't want you talking to other women. You can't hang out with other women. Imagine if we had the genders reversed. I think it would feel more visceral to us. I don't know if I want to go that far with it, but it does raise a question, I suppose. And maybe as we watch, we'll keep that in mind. All right, well, that does it for that episode of Psychology in Seattle. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.